Hey guys, I hope it's not too late and a few of you are still up. I'll give everyone a few minutes to get in here. It's been a few days since I've been live. Not been feeling too well. I've been kind of waiting to see if anybody else was going to cover this. So if nobody else is going to, I guess I will. I'm going to wait and see if we can at least get 10 people in here. Put my banners up there. So how's everyone been doing? Has everybody been doing good? I've got several subjects that I'm going to cover tonight, not just the main one. And first subject I'm going to cover is a little bit on David Dotson. Let me close out this other YouTube. I think I've got an echo. And we're going to cover a little bit on the new Mexican dope that's coming in through Tennessee. We've got a pretty good lineup tonight. Hey, Sassy. Hey, Wondering Heart. Y'all been doing okay? So yesterday I seen where there was a lot of people asking questions about David Dotson and stuff. So I was trying to catch them up on who David Dotson was and his role and everything. The most recent thing on David Dotson is he has recently filed for bankruptcy. And he's losing just about, well, he's filed bankruptcy since Summers went missing. And he's financially tied up with everything that he owns in the Greenville, Tennessee courtrooms. It's easily found if you want to give it a Google. But the most interesting thing about it is one of the companies that he is filing bankruptcy with is also got a lawsuit pending against them for racketeering and other charges. And the most interesting thing about that is the company went live on the stock market on June the 15th. So I found that was very interesting. And I'm trying to research more into this company to see if he was further tied to this company more than just filing for bankruptcy from them, or if he was actually part of the lawsuit. But I have I signed up to get instant updates from the court, everything that happens in this bankruptcy. I'm supposed to get notifications on. On 5/10, which was May the 10th of 2022, the hearing was held and to be continued. On May the 3rd, it was notice of mortgage payment change. That was the 7th claim, with certificate of service filed by creditor Onslow Bay Financial, LLC. And when you look up Onslow Bay Financial, LLC, like I said, they are being sued for racketeering. And that's very interesting. Now, some people are under the false belief that David Dotson owns Dotson Funeral Homes out of Maryville, Tennessee. He does not, and he has no association with Dotson Funeral Home out of Maryville, Tennessee. A man by the name of Clarence Dotson, no relation that I can find, owns that particular funeral home. So the people that are calling that funeral home and harassing those folks, that needs to kind of stop, because they have nothing to do with Billy David Dotson, and really don't even understand why they're getting the phone calls and the questions. David Dotson had already lost his job with East Lawn Cemetery and East Lawn Funeral Home by the time summer had come up, gone. Now, I have heard that it was by a couple of weeks, and I have heard that it was within a couple of months. And I have heard that it was around the month of May. That he had lost his job. And he had, what it was, the best that I could research without calling and harassing anybody or anything like that. There was an issue with his license that had been lapsed, and he had got fined really heavy. And they had only been lapsed for like 2 weeks before he renewed his license, but there was issue with that. And sometimes in the medical profession, we just forget to do things like renew our license on time. Just like your driver's license, sometimes you just forget to renew them on time. Very early on, we had found some land that he had listed in his name. And he had it listed as a private cemetery. This was turned in to the TBI very, very early on. And it was also droned, and nothing was found. So just for the people that has been curious, that didn't catch it the first time around, that I had done a video on David Dotson. That's what little bit that I know about the man. I agree the creep factor is on up around 10, and there's something that's just not quite right about how he strikes people. I guess there's something creepy about every funeral director. There's something creepy about every mortician. But somebody has to do the job, I suppose. Show me a mortician or a funeral director that doesn't creep you out. I think that anybody that does that line of work has got a peculiar personality trait. But again, somebody has to do that job, right? So, moving on. Next subject. Unless y'all have questions. Do y'all have questions about David that I might know or can answer? Or I'll give y'all a couple of minutes to type your question in if you have one. All right. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the next subject, and the only reason I am even bringing it up is to go into another subject. Jody Sue and her particular set of friends. Sharfie Jr., Frank Light, Randy Haas, Bradley Eugene Hayes. Bradley Eugene Hayes was the guy who she paid $1,000 for the tattoo on her arm. He is also an RSO. But getting away from that, there was another Hayes that was busted on June the 9th, just a few days before Summer was reported missing, in a child trafficking bust on June the 9th over in Johnson City. And he was in this bust. There was another man that was busted by the name of Jose. Now, it was not the same Jose. It was a different Jose. And the reason that this sticks out to me, it sticks out for two reasons. There was text messages sent on a prior date between Candace and Hunter, like it was a trial run. But also, Dudley Ajan had said something about a Jose that had just gotten out of jail. And if it wasn't Jose Roman, could it have possibly been another Jose? I don't know why that was taken so lightly. I think when the dog stopped at her feet, since she had her dog with her also, I think maybe they were just, I don't know. I wasn't there. I think maybe that's why she had her dog with her, though, she knew her dogs would try and fight with the search dogs if they did hit on her for a scent, and it would create chaos. But let me see if I can find this June the 9th article so I can read this to y'all. Okay. This happened between June the 9th and June the 11th. Officials with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said 7 men were arrested and accused of seeking illicit sex from minors following a 2-day undercover operation. According to TBI, authorities began the 2-day undercover investigation on June the 9th in an attempt to address human trafficking in East Tennessee. Authorities placed several decoy advertisements on websites that are known to be linked to prostitution and commercial sex cases. The operation aimed to identify individuals that were seeking to engage in commercial sex act with minors. As a result of the investigation, 7 men were arrested and booked into the Unicoi County Jail. Mark Daniel Higgins from Asheville, North Carolina. Jeffrey Lynn Roney from Arden, North Carolina. Stephen Charles Mays from Morristown, Tennessee. I think that was supposed to be Hayes. Benjamin Boucher Moreno, Asheville, North Carolina. Jose Raul Delgado Andretti, Johnson City. Alberto Vasquez Gonzalez, Bristol, Virginia. Randall Dale Staten, Bakersfield, North Carolina. And that was just days before she came up missing. And I said, my question is could Dudley A. Jane could have been right, and there was another Jose that had just gotten out of jail staying there, but it not been Jose Roman. Could it have been a different Jose that was there? Question mark. All right. Let's see, what do I have next? Oh, yes. Give me just a minute, guys. I've got to find this again. Well, I guess I have done lost that article. Give me just a minute. I hate when I do that. I've just had so many things tonight to go over, and I thought I had everything bookmarked. One-ton meth bust. 6 charged in East Tennessee after feds find $13 million drug cache. 6 people from Mexico are in federal custody in East Tennessee after a bust led them to discovery of more than 900 kilograms of methamphetamine with an estimated value of more than $13 million, authorities say. Doug Overby, U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Tennessee, made the announcement Thursday. Authorities allege they've interrupted a methamphetamine supply line that stretched from Mexico to Georgia and up into East Tennessee and elsewhere. The amount seized is equal to a ton of meth. The defendants are identified as Jose Cruz Landeros Tovar, Mariana Gonzalez, Luis Albert Cruz, Adolfo Dominguez, Luis Fernando Pina Fierro, Maria Magana. They're charged in a complaint with taking part in a meth distribution ring. The 6 were arrested Tuesday in northern Georgia. Cruz and Domingo have a preliminary March the 19th. Among those with ties to the alleged meth ring is a Knox County man named Cody Seals, who in January got into a shootout with Tennessee Highway Patrol troopers in Hamilton County while carrying meth he had just gotten from Magana, according to records in previous reports. Magana is a central figure in the alleged operation. Authorities' records indicate first become aware of her after 2 people who just bought meth from her were in a crash in December 2019 in East Tennessee. The exact location of the crash wasn't immediately clear. After the crash, the people in the vehicle ran away, but police found a Pelican case that left behind that had about 500 grams of suspected methamphetamine, according to records. Officers found the people who'd been in the vehicle, and they said they'd just been to northern Georgia to buy methamphetamine through a woman named Maria, according to records. That led investigators to begin to track her. They were watching her some weeks later when they saw Seals, the Knox County man, pull up to an unidentified hotel in northern Georgia where she was staying. He went into the building and he come back out. He was carrying a Doritos bag, according to records. The night of January the 9th, Tennessee Highway Patrol troopers tried to pull Seals over in Hamilton County on Highway 27. Seals started firing a pistol at them. Troopers forced a stop. Seals emerged from his vehicle with an assault rifle and fired a very large number of shots at the troopers, according to an affidavit from Ted Francisco, a task force officer with Homeland Security Investigations. One trooper was shot in the leg. Troopers hit Seal with return fire, for which he was hospitalized. Inside the Dorito bag in his vehicle, authorities found 1.5 kilos of meth and about 500 grams of heroin. He's being held in Hamilton County. Does not appear to have been charged with a federal offense. Warrant targets the stash house. Federal officials say late Monday and early Tuesday they served a search warrant on a stash house in Conyers, Georgia, that Magana had frequently visited. She lived 30 or 40 minutes from the house, according to the government. Check this out. Hidden on the property in various vehicles, including a bus, they found a total of 864 kilograms of meth, according to records. Inside the house, they found equipment with possible residue that can be used to convert liquid methamphetamine into crystal methamphetamine. An affidavit from Ted Francisco, a task force operator with Homeland Security Investigations, states. Elsewhere, they found another 52 kilograms of meth. The estimated total street value of the drugs is more than $13 million. Now, the point of me telling y'all this story is this is over in Knoxville. It's not far from Rogersville. And you hear about Don and Andy going to Knoxville all the time. And in this article, it talks about the Mexican mafia ties. And Don has talked about the Mexican mafia quite a bit. And they say, oh, there is no Mexican mafia around there. Well, there you go. And it talks right here about it was stashed in a bus. And they're converting liquid into crystals. And I know that was a long story to tell you, just to make the point in saying, well, here it is. And then there was another, off of that, there was another 39 indictments handed down when it was all said and done. Now, just a few days ago, there's more mafia, Mexican mafia activity running through Greenville, Tennessee, which is right there, just a rock's throw from Ben Hill Road. So it is there. Hey, McBro. Hey, Guidance in Life. Hey, Catch My Vibe. Y'all, welcome. Hey, Eve. Oh, most definitely. There's another name for that cartel. Is just absolutely. A Bulls Gap man who was allegedly a major methamphetamine distributor in Greene and Hawkins County was charged early Tuesday with possession of more than 2.3 pounds of highly addictive Mexican meth. Michael Chad Myers, 37, and then it gives his address, and I'm not going to put that out there. Schedule 2 drug for resale, possession of drug paraphernalia with intent to distribute and maintain in a dwelling for drug use, sales, and storage. And I mean, just sit here and just look this stuff up over and over and over. So it's there. But, and there's a couple of these. They actually do. They go by names. A couple of those vice lords around there has actually been charged with kidnapping, the R word, distribution of heroin, and they've been caught right there on Ben Hill Road coming off of Beach Creek Road. So who all caught the interview room, Chris McDonough's show last night? Did everybody catch that? What did y'all think about that? He was calling Sonia out big time, wasn't he? He's not happy with Sonia at all. Sounds like to me he is very upset with Sonia. And I had heard very early on that Don's son, Don Jr., was there on the property 3 days before Summer come up missing. That rumor has always been around. And that's why his son's record was put in question right off the bat. That's why Don Jr.'s record was put out there for everybody to mull over, is because it was said that he was there on the property very early on. And then it was kind of just dismissed. The rumor just kind of went away. So I wonder now, since the rumor is out there that Sonia was on the property, if Don Jr. was not there with Sonia. That would be interesting. To find out if Little Don, we'll just call him Little Don, was there with Sonia. Now, Mary is the one that has come out and said that Sonia was there on the property. So I'm going to believe that that's a true fact statement. And again, I had heard that once before, and it was dismissed as a rumor. Well, McBro, I've never known of Mary to just outright lie. And her husband, Courtney Dale Sessions, he's an RSO as well. But here is the kicker on that. He has ties to Tennessee. He has got a previous address in Tennessee. He's got his last known address in Tennessee was in Rockville, Tennessee, and we have heard Rockville come up before. There was a recording, I believe it was maybe a recording of Fred, and we couldn't understand whether he was saying Andy was in Knoxville or Rockville. We could not distinguish what he was saying there. So we've had a recording already come up to where we could not distinguish maybe if Rockville had not come up. Just a minute, even I'll tell you about Billy Dishner. But here's the interesting thing about the property that Courtney Sessions once owned or still owns and is renting out. The porn star Nikki Darling is now living at that address making porn movies out of the same house that Courtney Dale Sessions once had. So whether he still owns that property and is renting it out, or if he sold that property and has no more ties to it, I don't know. But I do know that it is the same property. So I do find it strange that an RSO shares an address with somebody who is making porn out of the same house. You catch what I'm throwing out there? And since Summer has disappeared, Sonia has come up with another property out in California. So before you say that you just don't believe that something's going on, exactly, TLC. Now, here's something to think about. Candace and Don fighting all the time. Don is out in Utah with Sonia, with his golden boy, his favorite son, with Sonia, and everything's going happy-go-lucky, right? What if, and this is just a theory, what if there was some discussion around the dinner table like, if Candace just don't want to move out here, if I could just get my girl away from her, I'd be happy just living out here without Candace. And then a plan go into motion to get his girl out of that lifestyle to where he wanted to be in Utah. And then they actually go through with it and they act on it. It's just a thought that maybe Don thought that he could get away with it. And live happily ever after. And that none of this was going to blow up this big. Right. I mean, she was living there pretty much with another man when he had to come back from Utah to keep her from selling off his family's property. I would say he was pretty mad. And then when he gets back, she puts him in jail. And then even when he tries to put his family in church, y'all seen the difference between the way he interacted inside the church and how Candace acted inside the church. And maybe he done something really stupid. Now, Eve, back to your question about Billy Dishner. Billy Dishner is the one that owns the trucking school. And he also owns the corner lots up there around Don's property. He's the one that owns where they found the campsite at, if you've heard him talk about the campsite. And he's the one that they said they can climb that terrain with no shoes on, that can go barefooted and climb all that stuff. They call him Bigfoot or something because he can go through all that completely barefooted. climb on all those sharp rocks and stuff barefooted. But I don't think that he is the same Billy that was sleeping in the sheds. For the simple fact that if his wife was to have kicked him out, he always had his business down there that he could have slept in. He had the trucking school and everything that he could have slept in. He had his trucks he could have slept in. I've heard him mention Haskell a time or two, but he's an older man, I thought. And it's some more of Andy Bernard's family. He's a Smith, if I remember right. His last name's Smith. Well, at the end of the day, Candace and Grandma Candy was the last ones that seen her. I think Haskell was another one that they said that could climb on those rocks barefooted, if I remember right. There was one or two of them that could climb that terrain with no shoes and socks on and stuff. Well, something Andy said to CSI that I heard today that kind of struck me sideways. Because not only have I got it on my PSB7 spirit box, but I know other people have got similar things to I have got the sentence, I fell into my own grave. I know other people have got things like that too. Andy said something about what they call a double burial up there. Did y'all hear what CSI had said? Andy had said about that. And it's where a grave is pre-dug, and then they'll bury a weapon or a body or something, and then they will put the vault in there, and then they'll put somebody else's body or casket on top of that, so whatever they're trying to hide is under the casket. Because one thing that I have gotten consistently for 10 months now is mud and fell into it. Well, I haven't got push or cliff, but I have got mud, and I have got fell into it, fell into the grave, and stuff like that. But mud is something that, and I have even, I tell y'all what though, the recurring dream that I have had over and over and over and over is of two women, and they're putting her into a box, and they're wrapping the box up. Anyway, I'm not even, look, I don't even talk about that on my lives. I'm not look, I ain't even gonna talk about that. um I'm thinking along about September was the final resting spot, was what I figure. I think that I don't know, but I'm going to take my stuff to Tennessee with me. I'm going to take my spirit box and everything back again. And hopefully I will have a little bit of spare time while I'm there to go to a couple of more places. Somebody told me, I don't know if it's true or not, but somebody told me that EquiSearch was down there this past weekend. as long as I was in search and rescue, I have never seen a missing child's case where they tell people, "Oh, but we don't want anybody to search. We don't need any searchers. We don't want anybody to search for this missing child." Yes, you are right about Idaho. And I still think that they rubbed her scent, or whatever scent that they were going to use, they rubbed all over those dogs and then run those dogs through the woods. And then the search dogs didn't know which way to go because there was scent everywhere. And I'm not sure that it was just her scent, because everything in that house was shared, down to the shoes. The shoes were hand-me-downs too. And if you notice in the swimming video, she was swimming in those shoes. So if she was truly swimming that day, if that is a fact, she was swimming in those shoes, and those shoes had recently been wet. So how reliable was the scent in those shoes? Well, you can't tell me, as nosy as Jody Sue is, that she didn't carry her ass up on that hill. She didn't follow Candace back up on that hill. She went all the way down to the creek. She went from her house and she went all the way down to on the creek. But once she saw Candace come back, she didn't go up on that hill to see what was going on up on that hill. I call bullshit on that. I say Jody Sue was up on that hill. See, I didn't know she changed her story today. But she changed it after we called her out on it. They are thick as thieves. See, when Andy was locked up this last time, and Jody Sue didn't have anybody to carry her to the store and stuff, Dawn is the one that would carry her to the grocery store and let her do her lives and carry her to the store to get cigarettes and carry her here and carry her there. And let me tell you something else. Have you not noticed all of the black-eyed Susans and stuff? The black-eyed Susan that was left in Utah at the memorial, and the black-eyed Susan here and the black-eyed Susan there. And now she's got that, it looks more like a sunflower, but it's a black-eyed Susan tattoo that's on the inside of her arm. There's something about Summer and the black-eyed Susans. She will be found somewhere around where there's black-eyed Susans growing. Watch what I'm telling you. Anytime people see a somewhere where there's a whole lot of black-eyed Susans growing around in that area, that's where they need to jump out and be looking. All the families are connected. Look, to Florida, to Texas, especially around Killen, Texas, around the Waco area, all those little communities around the Waco area, Texas. There's several little areas around Texas. Maryland, Nevada, they've all been to Nevada. They've all been to Oklahoma, New York. It's like they all travel together in these little packs. And they're all, look, they're not just SDA, and this is not a conspiracy theory. This is something that I proved. They are Shepherd's Rod. Same thing as Branch Davidians. They just don't use the Branch Davidian name. They go by the Shepherd's Rod. That's the kind of SDA they are. That's how messed up these people are. Even if you look up places around Rogersville, just Google Shepherd's Rod in Rogersville, and you'll see all these little places pop up. I've got some videos on it, and there's like 22 different places in Rogersville that's connected by the Shepherd's Rod. Yeah, Indiana's another one. And Indiana is another place where Courtney Dale Sessions is connected to, and that was one of the places that he was convicted out of, was Indiana. Sonia's husband. And so I don't know if Sonia's husband was even with her or not. But when she went to Tennessee, but I do remember very well the rumor being that Don Jr. was in Tennessee. I do remember that very well. And that's why his record was scrutinized so hard in the beginning, because he was rumored to have been there. So I wonder if Sonia and Don Jr. was the one that lured her off that hill. I've heard that Brian Laundrie was there, but I've never seen any actual proof of that he was in Rogersville, Tennessee. I have seen where they were in, like, around the Smoky Mountains and Gatlinburg, but that's 2 hours, or at least an hour, hour and a half out of Rogersville. But if you just put in, if you think about it and you say, okay, well, if Sonia was there and if Don Jr. was there, then that puts the whole theory in motion that there was a plan to get her off that hill for Don, so Don could get away from Candace. I mean, it was just that simple. And he never stopped to think about any of this getting this big. Yeah, I think that no matter what happened, they didn't expect it to get this big. That they thought that, it might run a couple of 3 weeks or even a couple of months, and then it just fade off, and nobody ever give that poor little kid from Tennessee a second or third thought. As sad as that sounds. Eve, are you going to Tennessee? Are any of y'all going to Tennessee? maybe we can meet up, have a nice little session or something and see what we can all get together. I've got 2 places in mind that I have not done. What is your email address? Well, if she's in a double grave, the chances are we may not never find her. Unless Andy's willing to give that information to the authorities. There was one grave that I did have feelings about while I was there, but it was not at Solomon's. It was at Mount Carmel. So could he have been lying about which church it was at? Because I was doing a spirit box here a while back. It was maybe 2 months ago. And there was just one that I just kept being drawn back to. That, I mean, I just had, like, the hair was just standing up on the back of my neck. Oh, wow. And you never heard anything back from them, let me guess. Nice. Well, you know what we need to do is just make a search crew of just people like us. That's what I have thought about, is just finding people that have the same gifts that I've got. Because that I guess that's why I always done so well in search and rescue, is because of that sixth and seventh sense that I've got. All the years that I was an EMT, it was like I always knew what the call was going to be before we got it. I always knew what the outcome of the call was going to be before I even started it. And I was usually always in sync with my partner. Which one of the sheds? It may just be the way that sounds, Carrie, because I've got a church that is probably a mile and a half from me, and I can hear the church bells clearly on Sunday. And if they are singing loud enough, I can hear them raising the roof down there at that church sometimes. But let me ask you something. If the police, or just law enforcement in general, if they won't listen to you, and the TBI won't listen to you, and the FBI is not taking tips, who do you go to? That's the situation that I'm in. Well, with the Idaho thing, what did she have on JD's wife or the other one's wife, or to go to their wife about. What does she have on them? Is it sex? Is it drugs? What is it? So can that branch of law enforcement even be trusted? I need to know what her deal is. When you go to threatening police and then you don't even there is no repercussions for that. Something's wrong. When you can threaten to blow up a building and nothing is done about that, but yet, look, Candace can threaten to blow up a Walmart and she's banned from all the Walmarts, but Brandy can threaten to blow up a police station and nothing's done about that. So I try just to stay out of the Michael Vaughn case altogether because I just don't have a whole lot of patience for that kind of stupidity. I mean, I've got enough stupidity with Summer's case right now. And at least I am kind of close. Even I'm not real close, but at least I am close enough to come and go as I need to. Did Bob make a video on you? I don't care. He's just trying to build up his subs off of somebody else's back. That's what he was doing when he attacked Don B. and when he attacked Cher. And that's what he does, is he attacks other people and then hopes that people will go back and forth, jumping back and forth, and my subs will go over there and to see what he's saying. It's that same old stupid game, and I could care less. Yeah, it was over a stupid, because I laughed. I put a laughing emoji when I answered a question. If that's the way he wants to treat his subs, then I'll just unsub from him. It's that simple. I appreciate it, though. It's something wayfaring. I don't know, but I subbed to him when nobody else would, when he was under 200 subs. And if that's the way he wants to treat the people who sub to him, that's more than fine. And it wasn't him that I was laughing at. It was the goofy people that was giving goofy answers without research and stuff. No, he claims to do paranormal stuff, but he never does anything paranormal. All he does is attack people. Cher was one of his first subs, and then he attacked her. Don B was another one of his subs, and then he attacked him. So I guess now it's my turn. Anybody that's got a one more sub than he's got, he attacks. You can't reason with him. Yeah, you're A-okay not knowing who he is. He fights with that Lamont at large all the time and picks on him a lot. Right. Right, Eve? Maybe that's what we need to start doing. Move some of these folks to the drama community for sure. I'm so over it. And it's like some of these people just thrive off of the drama, and that's all they want to hear is the drama. I'll put some bad juju on him. I'll send him something. Get Jody Sue to put a satanic, what you call it, voodoo doll thing on him. All I'd have to do is send her a PayPal, right? She'd do anything for a PayPal. Anyway, guys, I have went almost an hour and 45 minutes. That's usually like 45 minutes longer than what I usually go. Y'all know that, right? Send her a gift basket full of some truth serums. I don't know if they make any strong enough for her, Eve. We need some truth darts and shoot her out of a tree like you do monkeys. Need some wildlife darts for that, for sure. I don't know, Holly. I know the Sherfies lived right down the street from the Boswells. I mean, within just like a quarter of a mile or so. And Jody Sue's pretty tight with the Sherfies. Yeah, it goes back to who your circle of friends are and everything. Oh, wow. Did they have, yes, they had court continued in April, didn't they? Well, I wonder what we might find in Florida if we run some looking for records in Florida, if she's that scared of Florida. Maybe we need to be looking to see what's in Florida. Well, okay, let's find out why Florida is such a huge trigger for her then. There's got to be something there. Let's see why she runs. My subscription service is down for my records for this month. I couldn't renew it. Does anybody else have Truth Finder or anything up? And Eve, I don't have your email address, but mine is valkyrie.syn at proton valkyrie.syn77 at protonmail.com. Like this. Let me type it in for you. Shoot me an email so hopefully we can meet up this weekend. Or it ain't on the weekend this week. Yeah, there you go. So if anybody can also run Jody Sue Brown and Andy both in Florida, if y'all find anything, drop it in my email. All right. Well, good night, everyone. Love y'all. I will see y'all later on today. Hope y'all enjoyed the stream. Don't forget to like and sub. The more y'all like the video, the more it is in the algorithm. No, we don't know what part of Florida, so just run the whole state. Night, McBro. Good night, everyone.